Hey, friend, as we wrap up 2024, I have a question for you. Are you heading into 2025 with the clarity, confidence, and focus you need? Or are you feeling a little stuck, maybe overwhelmed, or simply unsure of how to reach that next level? You know, you want more for yourself, you want more for your family, you want more for your business, but the how to get there part is where you're not having as much clarity around. So, I've been offering clarity calls every single week. And maybe you've been telling yourself, like, I'm too busy, Martine, to book a clarity call. And guess what? Friend, if you feel like you're too busy to make time for clarity, that's exactly the sign you need to prioritize it. A short call could save you months of spinning your wheels. Or maybe you're saying, I'm not ready to invest in coaching, so I don't need to book a clarity call. And that's okay. This isn't about committing to a program. It's about committing to yourself. It's about getting unstuck and finding the focus you need to move forward. So whether you decide to move forward in Eliminate You coaching or not, this call will be beneficial for you. And lastly, maybe you're saying, like, I don't even know what I need. Perfect. Like, this is exactly why the clarity call exists, to help you to figure out what's next. And here's the thing, it's not a sales pitch or a high pressure conversation. It's a relaxed, judgment free space tailored to your goals. It's a chance to uncover what's possible, prioritize what really matters, and walk away with a renewed sense of direction. So imagine stepping into 2025 with clarity on where to focus your energy and the confidence to take action. If that sounds like you, then this is your week, friend. I'm calling this Clarity Call Week. I've opened up extra spots, and it will be the last opportunity, honestly, in 2024 to get on a clarity call with me to help you to finish this year strong and to step into the new year with intention. So go to martinewilliams.com and book your clarity call. And if spots are limited, it's first come, first serve. Again, this will be the last opportunity to do that in 2024. I can't wait to connect with you. We'll put the link in the show notes as well. And I will see you on your clarity call. Welcome to Remix Moments with Martine, where we will remix your mindset one moment at a time. I'm your host, Martine Williams, and I'm here to bring you a quick burst of inspiration, insight, and a fresh spin on your mompreneur journey. In just a few minutes, we'll remix your mindset, energize your day, and keep you moving forward with purpose. Let's dive in to today's moment. Hey friends, and welcome to another Remix Moment with Martine, where we remix your mindset one moment at a time. Today, I want to share a core value that has been a game changer for me in both life and business. And it came from a book. You've heard me talk about this book before. It's one of my favorite books of all times. I usually try to read it at least one time a year, usually either at the end of the previous year or the beginning of the next year. But it's The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. And he has an accompanying book that helps you to kind of implement what he talks about in the actual book. So the second book that goes along with it is called Mastering the 7 Decisions. So in the first book, you're learning about what the 7 decisions are for personal success. And then he has, like I say, a kind of a follow-up book that's called Mastering the 7 Decisions that Determine Personal Success. And I've actually done a full leadership weekend teaching on these 7 decisions. And I do keep coming back to them over and over and over again. And the one that I keep coming back to the most is the one I want to share with you today, because it really did change the game for me. I remember reading this book. A friend recommended the book to me, and I remember reading it, and it was in a season where there were a lot of circumstances going on, and like things weren't happening the way I wanted them to happen. And, it was kind of like, well, it's this person's fault, or it's, the economy's fault, or, you fill in the blank there. Like, I was definitely in that place. And I remember reading this book, and the very first decision that determined personal success was radical responsibility. It was the buck stops here. And I remember being so convicted. I remember being like, that was a big stomp on my foot. That was a big stomp on my ego and my pride, and like just the victim mentality that I was in at that moment. And it's been a core value of mine ever since. And I do think it is one of the mindsets and beliefs that I have that has led to my success 17 years as an entrepreneur, is this idea of radical responsibility. So you may have heard it called 100% responsibility, radical responsibility, whatever you want to call it, but it's about one simple truth. Your success, your joy, and your progress are all on you. The buck stops with you. The buck stops with me. Now, that might feel a little heavy at first, but I want you to stick with me. By the end of this episode, you'll see how this value is the most freeing and empowering shift that you can make. I'm going to explain why it's essential for success, what it looks like in everyday life, and how you can start embracing it today. So let's dive right in. So let's start with why. Why is radical responsibility so powerful? Well, first, it's an empowerment. It's about empowerment. When you take full responsibility for your actions, your mindset, and your outcomes, you stop waiting for someone else to save the day. You realize, I am the one who can make things happen. How empowering is just that one statement when you realize I'm the one who can make things happen? It stops you from waiting on someone to come and rescue you. No one's coming to create the life and the business that you're looking for. No one's coming to create greater faith for you. No one's coming to you fill in the blank. And so when you take radical 100% responsibility for your actions, your mindset, and your outcomes, it really does fuel that empowerment. Secondly, it fuels a growth mindset. So think about it. When you own your own mistakes, instead of blaming someone else or the situation, the circumstance, you open the door to learning and improvement. Every misstep becomes a lesson, not a setback. Because when we blame others, we actually give our power away, because what we're saying is someone else has more power than me, and we're giving that control over to them versus saying, what can I own in this situation? What can I take on as a responsibility in this situation? And so when it doesn't turn out the way you want it to, it just becomes a lesson, not a setback. And third, it gives you clarity. When you stop pointing fingers at your partner, at your kids, at the economy, at the president, whoever, it becomes crystal clear what's actually within your control. And that, my friend, is where your power lies. We all have circumstances that come into our life. And we all have two things that we can ultimately control. We can control what we think, and we can control what we do about the circumstance. We can't always change the circumstance. And we definitely can't change other people's circumstances or how they think or how they take action or don't take action. But it gives you the power within yourself to say, okay, this is the circumstance. What am I thinking about this circumstance? And this is what I talk about a lot in my coaching, and my clients are having breakthroughs when they realize where the power comes in. So many of us, especially as ambitious mompreneurs, is we go into action and we go into this convincing energy, and we go into this is the right way and this, they need to see it my way, versus realizing that's a lot of wasted energy and time, because we can't change people's thoughts and we can't change their actions. But you can take radical responsibility for how you show up and what you think about. So radical responsibility isn't about beating yourself up or taking the blame for things outside of your control. It's about owning what's yours fully and unapologetically, and deciding to move forward from there. So what does radical responsibility look like? You might be thinking, what does this look like in real life? Can you give me some examples? So first, it's about owning your mistakes gracefully. And I say gracefully because we're so hard on ourselves. But over the years of being an entrepreneur, there have been moments that didn't produce the result I was looking for, and that I felt like I was working really, really hard for. And in the past, those moments would have taken me into the blame game. Someone else dropped the ball. Why didn't they just ask more questions or tell me what they needed, or the why me, the why me's, right? But the truth is I just needed to be clearer in my communications. So clearer in my communications and how I send emails out, clearer in my communications and how I talk about my services, clearer in communications in who needs to be involved in the process and what I'm asking them to do. So every time I own the mistake or how I could do it better, I learn and I move forward with empowerment. I move forward more empowered. But if I was to do the opposite of that, which I did for a long time until I came across this and really was able to put it into words, it was someone else's problem, right? It was someone else was doing something and that was the reason I wasn't successful. Or this system worked for them, but didn't work for me. Like that is giving away my power every single time versus looking at it and saying, okay, what did I miss here? What can I do differently? What can I say differently to get a different result? So owning your mistakes gracefully, not beating yourself up about them and using that against yourself, but owning those mistakes gracefully. The second is about proactive problem solving. So this is another way that it can be lived out in the daily. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what's the next step I can take? Radical responsibility moves you from a victim mindset to a creator mindset. I was just doing some peer coaching inside a group the other day, and a real, like, I wouldn't say negative result, but a result that she was not looking for was happening in her business. And, it's easy to jump in the pool with someone who's in that situation and just try to, especially for me and the encourager, try to get in there like, oh, it's okay. You're going to make it through it and all that, which is good. There's a place for that. But I also asked her a question, like, what could be made possible from learning in this situation? What is made possible for you and your clients moving forward? So owning the mistakes, owning the things that she maybe didn't do well, didn't deliver on, that she wanted to, or was perceived to have, perceived to be offering to a customer or client in her business. You learning this, what does that make possible for you? So proactive problem solving takes you out of victim mindset and into creator mindset. How can I create something different the next time? It's also about setting boundaries. Yeah, this one might surprise you a little bit, but taking responsibility means recognizing that you're in charge of your time, you're in charge of your energy, and you're in charge of your resources. So saying yes or no isn't about pleasing others. It's about honoring what matters most to you. And then finally, it looks like a commitment to growth. Like radical responsibility doesn't mean you won't mess up. Believe me, it's been a core value of mine for a long time, and I still mess up. It means you take the lesson and you keep going. So you've heard me say this on the podcast before, but one of my core beliefs is that I'm either getting the result that I want or the lesson that I need. And I can take that into any situation or circumstance in my life and my personal business. Like, what is the lesson? If it didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen, what is the opportunity to learn here? What is the lesson that I can learn and keep moving? So how do we embrace this radical responsibility? How do you actually start living this out? So here are a few simple steps for you. The first one is to do an awareness check. Like the next time you feel frustrated or stuck, pause and ask yourself, what part of this can I own? You might be surprised by what comes up. And that might be a courageous first step for you, just to sit back and say, what part of this can I own? Because maybe you're used to blaming. Choose your response is another way. We don't always have control on what happens to us, but we always control how we respond. Will you stay stuck in the frustration, or will you take one small step forward? This is really important when it comes to the Triple C Belief Breakthrough Method, is actually choosing your thought. I was literally just over the last few weeks working with a one-on-one client on this. And if it's not something you've done, it just feels hard. It feels unfamiliar. It feels like, well, this is how I've always responded. This is more comfortable for me just to respond this way. But then you're just getting the same result. And we know what that means, right? That's insanity. Do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So you can always control your thoughts about your circumstance, which are going to produce an emotion, which is going to produce an action, and then it's going to produce a result. So if you want to change the result, you want to change the outcome or have more of an impact on what the outcome could be, change your thoughts about it. That is the thing that you can control. So focus on what you can control. And maybe you, again, can't control that outcome, but you can control your effort, how much time you put into it. You can control your attitude, what you think about it, what you say about it, how you show up. And you can control your next move. We all have a next step, and we all have 100% responsibility for that next step. No one's coming to move you. No one's coming to take your step. Like, no one's going to go to the gym and do the reps for you. You have to do your own reps, take your own steps, but you're in control of that. And lastly, be kind to yourself. Radical responsibility isn't about perfection. You're going to mess up sometimes, and that's okay. The goal is progress, not perfection. So here is what I want you to take away from today's moment. Radical responsibility is not about burdening yourself. It's about stepping into your power. Like, I want you to visualize you stepping into your power and realizing that you have everything within you to create the life and the business that you want. You have to step into it. You have to open it up. You have to get out of the victim mentality and someone else's fault, or why is this happening to me, and get back into a thought that is going to help bring a different outcome for you. That's going to help create the life and the business that you do want. So let me leave you with this. Think about one area of your life or business where you've been pointing fingers at someone else, at circumstances, maybe even at the timing. And I challenge you to journal or reflect on this today. What's the one thing you can own? What's the one step you can take to change it? And I would highly encourage that first step to change it is to change your thoughts, because your thoughts produce your results. All right? You've got this. Thank you for spending this moment with me. And until next time, I'm believing in you always. Well, that's it, friends, for this remix moment. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. And I hope that you are feeling inspired and ready to take on whatever comes your way. Remember, even small moments can lead to big changes. If this moment made a difference, be sure to subscribe, share with your fellow moms, and leave me a quick review. Seriously, it means the world to me to hear from you. And until next time, I am believing in you, and I will catch you in the next moment.